OC World is made possible by the generous contributions of Marisla Foundation, Keith and Judy Swayne Family Foundation, Wells Fargo Bank, the University of California, Irvine, Orange County Community Foundation, Cordoba Corporation, Farmers and Merchants Bank, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to UCI. I'm Stephanie Reyes-Tuccio, Assistant Vice Chancellor of Educational Partnerships, and I am so pleased to host you here at the BL Center for Innovation as we celebrate the groundbreaking work of OC World and the generous supporters who make it happen. Let's take a moment and give a round of applause. We're very excited, you probably noticed in the newsletter today, to announce a new partnership with OC World and UCI. We look forward to working together to enrich, educate, and empower the Orange County community and creating a new virtual community through its multiple platforms. We also see this partnership as a way to support the dreams and career aspirations of our students, providing them local, accessible opportunities to acquire hands-on experience in the world of journalism and all aspects of media production and distribution. You know, those of you who are familiar with the work of CFEP know that we have always worked to support first-generation, low-income and underrepresented students to nurture their dreams of college and to provide them and their families support to navigate that college application and going process and help them graduate successfully. But one of the things that we learned during the pandemic and its aftermath was that our work was only half done, because we recognized that particularly that first generation students were not having equal access to the career exposure and social capital building, networking, internship opportunities that would really position them for post-graduation success. So we've made a very intentional broadening of our mission to maintain our focus on helping students get to college, but also helping them build career pathways to think about what's going to happen afterwards. And this new partnership with OC World is a very important part of that. So, besides announcing that and expressing my gratitude for our new partnership, I have the deep honor of introducing my very dear friend, colleague, and general co-conspirator to make good trouble. He has deep and sustained ties to UCI. He actually began working at UCI in 1972 when the campus was only 7 years old. He actually served under all 5 chancellors previous to our current chancellor, Howard Gilman. He established the Center for Educational Partnerships that I have had the great honor and distinction of leading for over a decade. He also created many groundbreaking programs on our campus, including the Dalai Lama Scholars. When he retired from UCI, we knew that was certainly not the end for him. And he has, true to form, continued to dedicate himself to creating collaborative partnerships designed to advance social justice and educational equity, and generally to create the change that we all wish to see in the world. So I'd like to welcome to the stage the co-founder of OC World, my friend and colleague, Dr. Manuel Gomez.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Stephanie Reyes-Ducio, for that very, very kind introduction. Our program tonight is really designed to accomplish three basic goals. First and foremost is to express our gratitude for all the support we have received in launching OC World from so many friends and colleagues. Secondly, we want to celebrate our accomplishments as Orange County's only nonprofit multimedia company. And lastly, we'd like to share a glimpse into our plans for 2024. OC World was launched 3 years ago, though my partner Scott says it's only 2 years ago because we lost 1 year in 2020, the lost COVID year. But we became very much aware that Orange County, with its 3.2 million residents, had become arguably the single largest news desert in the entire country. Clearly, we lacked genuine multimedia, video, TV coverage of our own communities. We saw a vacuum that needed to be filled with stories and narratives that would provide a voice to underserved members of our community, stimulate discussions and raise community understanding, and focus on our common values and shared narratives. And finally, to help the world understand that Orange County is now a thriving, diverse, post-suburban region with extraordinary and innovative leaders in business, the arts, in health, and in our educational institutions.
Good evening, everyone. I wish I could be there with you. My name is Beto Badolf. I'm the Executive Director of the Mar Isla Foundation. We're based here in Orange County. And I'm going to tell you why we are proud supporters of OC World. First of all, over the last few years, we've noticed a concerning decrease in coverage of Orange County issues and topics in the local media. So we applaud OC World for shining a light on our beautiful county. There are several big topics and sectors that they cover that we especially like. They tell stories that involve social issues, economic issues, political, and environment. And we think all of them are important, but most important is that they always add the human element to every story. We love OC World and we love the OC World staff and team. They are very, very professional and they know a great story when they see one. Last but not least, I'd just like to thank you all, and I want to thank OC World for their incredible and important work. And I encourage you all to keep supporting this great and important effort. Thank you very much.
Keith, he's a very extremely successful businessman, a wonderful independent philanthropist extraordinaire. He recently established the OC Orange County Social Justice Fund, unilaterally, this fund is designed to value diversity, ensure greater equity, and foster change through community collaborative efforts addressing economic, political, and social justice. Keith Swayne.
I came here in 1950. I was 10 years old. At that time, Orange County was 250,000 people, predominantly white. John Birch Society was strong in the county. If you're not familiar with that, it was a far right-wing organization. And there were remnants of the Ku Klux Klan still in Orange County. Now we're one of the most diverse counties in the country. We have a huge Latino population, a diverse population, and it's a rich culture. We've come a long ways in that time period. I feel strongly that responsible journalism is essential locally, regionally, and nationally. And it's critical for our democracy. It calls people, it holds people accountable, it holds organizations accountable, and it holds governments accountable. And it keeps us informed. Orange County was made reference to the fact that Orange County has roughly 3.3 million people, and we have sparse television coverage, we have sparse news coverage. So this was kind of the context in which I first learned of OC World when Scott and Manuel, we met in a small conference room at the Community Foundation. I think Todd had put the meeting together, and they talked about their vision for OC World, that they were going to provide incredible information to the public so we could learn more about our communities and about ourselves and be able to make informed decisions. It resonated with me because my view was, and still is, that with all the social media and cyberspace and internet misinformation and the lack of journalism in Orange County really focused on Orange County, that we truly were in a journalistic desert, and they were going to fill a gap. They were going to identify issues that need to be addressed. They were going to talk about them. They were going to interview experts knowledgeable in the important fields that affect us. And we were going to become a better informed community as a result of that. And so for me, putting a little bit of philanthropic money at risk to help them get underway was a wise investment. And I have no regrets. They've covered a wide variety of topics. They've done it exceptionally well, and they've received national and regional recognition for their efforts. One particular documentary that they did early on that was important to me was entitled Hope Dies Last, and it focused on Alzheimer's, the impact on those afflicted with Alzheimer's and the impact on those who care for people afflicted by Alzheimer's. Plus, it talked about research being done in the field of Alzheimer's right here at UCI, a UCI Mind, which is an Alzheimer's disease research center. That episode was important to me because not only did I get to be interviewed and become a star, but I got to talk about my wife's journey with Alzheimer's. And that was important to me, to be able to personalize my experience with Alzheimer's and share it with other people. That episode received a national award, a Golden Mike Award, and a regional award, a Golden Telly Award. And that's just one example of the quality of work OC World is doing and reporting. As I said at the outset, I'm pleased to have been an early supporter. I'm very pleased to be a continuing supporter. About 2 weeks ago, I was watching the PBS News, which I do habitually, and they were interviewing Martin Barron, a former editor at the Washington Post, about a book he's just written. He made the comment, or he referred to the slogan of the Washington Post. He said, "Democracy dies in darkness." I don't think we could be, this time we're in right now, couldn't make that more relevant. And OC World is shining a light on issues that affect us in our region. It's up to us to help them make sure that light keeps shining. If you're already a supporter of OC World, I thank you for that on behalf of OC World. If you're not yet a supporter, I encourage you to become one. It's my intent to continue to support them because I believe in what they're doing and I believe in the need. So I thank all of you for listening, and I thank OC World for what they've accomplished.
In an earlier generation of America, Americans received their news and information from pretty much the same sources. There were only 3 channels, and the newspapers were grounded in professional journalism. And Americans got pretty much the same information. And I think the fact that we are so siloed and balkanized that more than ever, we need organizations like OC World that can help bring different voices together in the same space. And so that people that are siloed can at least momentarily get out of those silos and maybe scratch their head and think that, oh, there are other viewpoints here. And so I really believe that this organization is doing great work for Orange County, for democracy, for voices, and for public discourse in important issues.
Hi, I'm Rick Reef. I've been a journalist for more than 50 years, and I've spent most of that time, 30 plus years, in Orange County. And in recent years, I've devoted much of that time to the most neglected segment of journalism in Orange County, and that's television. We're a community of more than 3 million people, but we don't have our own commercial news stations. We're part of the Los Angeles television market, and we all know that means that much of what happens in Orange County never gets covered. Even 3 million people get lost in a market that totals 18 million. San Diego, same size as us, they have their own television stations. Even Palm Springs has its own stations, but not OC. There's only one other community in the entire country in a similar fix, Long Island, New York. But Long Island, big as it is more of a bedroom community than we are, and arguably a good fit with the huge New York media market. That's not the case here in Orange County. We are our own community. So what to do? Well, for sure, support the efforts to bring community programming here, and especially support my friends and colleagues at OC World. They're doing important journalism, probing big issues, highlighting our culture, and engaging thought leaders. And in its short existence, OC World has already distinguished itself with award-winning documentaries.
One of the things that I always tell people is it's important to share your story. It's what connects us. And I like to say what I do, but also do what I say. And there happened to be a piece that came along, which was really something that Keith Swayne thought it was really important, as do I think all of us. Month of October is domestic violence, or now it's called relationship violence. And it's a very silent epidemic. And we thought it was important to do the story. Well, it hit a chord with me because it allowed me to open up my own personal story, a story that I worked so hard over the years to hide because I was ashamed to be in a household as a child. And by telling the story and connecting with others, you put yourself in a space and hopefully it makes sense to others and encourage others to open up and create that connection and really try to better ourselves from a humanity lens. So I was very honored to share my story because I felt so safe in the OC World space.
Mm-hmm. This transcends all cultures. You could be worth $100 million. You could make $20,000 a year. And you could be in a house of domestic violence, of relationship violence, right? So it's not like this is a poor person's problem or a rich person's problem or a middle class person's problem. This is everybody's problem. Relationship violence is an endemic. And until we recognize it as such, we're kidding ourselves. And I know it's hard for people who grow up in good families, a good mom, a good dad, supportive parents. It's hard for them to relate to this until they've experienced it. And those are very, very lucky people, but those people also have an opportunity to be able to help. It's just people like you and me. We were soldiers who've been in the battles, right? We saw the war, we came out of it, and we know how we can keep others out of it.
My mom, she and I've never had this conversation. I think that if I were to, and I may, I don't know, I would probably apologize.
Tell me why.
Because I feel like I was hard on her. Maybe still a little am. Yeah, that's what I do. Sorry. Okay, let me take a little break. A little napkin. I was not expecting you to ask me that back.
I know, it was organic.
Thank you. So, Yeah, because when you're young, you don't know how to make sense of things, and so I knew my dad was a monster. I knew they loved each other. It was very unhealthy, but I was always like, if my mom wouldn't talk back, she would be quiet, then he would stop. And I remember screaming so many times for her to stop, because it felt like it was instigating him, but she was only defending herself. And I think just growing up, I didn't know how to process it. So there was just the anger that I felt, but I didn't show that to anyone. If anything, I wanted everyone to like me. So I became everything to everybody. But I think with my mom, I think I blamed her as well, which is horrible, right? Clearly my dad, I blamed him, but then the guilt of being thankful that he passed away. Because up until that moment, I remember him being in his 70s and still, I felt something wrong, so I called my mom, and this is him in his 70s, and she's crying, and I always knew when something was off. She was crying because he had just kicked her to the floor and just kicked her in the stomach. I remember going to the house, extracting her out of there now that I'm an adult. And then my dad passed very quickly away from that, I think from depression, and I was relieved that he was gone, and that just made me feel like a horrible human being. And so when you don't know where to place that, I realized I could be a little hard on my mom, and I was, and I am, and I'm trying to work on that. That's why I realized. You said this when we talked on the phone to set this interview up. You said, we're broken.
We're broken. That's right. We broke.
Yeah. But then there is the part after broken.
Yes.
Which is?
Yeah. An opportunity to become a leader.
As we look into OC World's future and for 2024, in addition to our continued in-studio and on-location interviews and our documentary shorts and field reports, we're also expanding our vision by developing social enterprise programs that we trust will appeal to even a more diverse spectrum of our prospective viewers. So I want to also now, even though Julie already sort of took a lot of the thunder, I want to also recognize the entire OC World team, starting with June Kim Lopez, our host and producer. Our videographers, Dan McKechnie. Where are you, Dan? Over there. Look at him working. Ty Woodson and Tony Pettis. Where's Ty? And where's Tony? Look at all three of them filming away. I hope they look that way, not this way. And I actually want to thank Kate Heaton, our newest employee, Catherine over there, her mom. She's so good, she brought her mom, Liz, to work with us. Liz, where's she at? You met her at the registration table. And our friend also, Tony, not Tony, but Roberto Cruz Marquez. He's a photographer, there he is. And our public relations specialist, Barbara Kibler. Where are you, Barbara? There you are. Well, I got to give a very special, distinct, unique thanks to Scott Haynes for his vision as founder and executive producer for OC World. Not a friend. And someone who has become a friend. And I just want you to know that he just received the Los Angeles Times Business to Business Visionary Recognition Award for all his work. Thank you, Al, once again, for sharing this good time with us and with OC World. Good night. Travel safely. Going home.